In the chaos of the battle back then, Wang Lin had no time to pay attention to them. Afterward, he entered the void and lost track of them. Only after emerging from the void did he have any leisure, and it was only now that he had the time to think about it. Even with Mount Pagoda, Wang Lin lost contact after the great battle. However, there was an immortal guard seal between him and Mount Pagoda, so it wasn't difficult to sense its location. Wang Lin recalled that during the battle, the three of them were unharmed. At this moment, he closed his eyes, extending his divine sense. After a long while, he faintly sensed a familiar fluctuation in the east. With a calm expression, Wang Lin opened his eyes and took a step forward. As ripples spread beneath his feet, his figure vanished into the starry sky. The mountain collapse technique, its power is so great. Although I had anticipated that Immortal Emperor by Fan's rear palace techniques would be even more marvelous than before, the mountain collapse technique still exceeded my expectations. Mountain collapse. What kind of insight could lead Immortal Emperor by Fan to create such a powerful technique? I wonder when I'll be able to create my own divine ability. In the far eastern part of Wang Lin's sensing range, a massive stone drifted slowly through space. It was obviously a fragment from a cultivation star that had shattered during its collapse. The stone was irregular and small fragments kept falling off as it drifted. Around it, faint fluctuations of magic power floated like wisps of smoke, dissipating as they drifted through the void. This stone appeared quite ordinary. Under the vast sky, such stones were common and wouldn't draw attention. Mount Pagoda, sitting cross-legged inside the stone, remained motionless. Since losing contact with Wang Lin, he had felt lost. However, the Immortal Guard technique from Immortal Emperor Qin Lin had dispersed his primordial spirit into his body. Even though his mind remained active, it was a far cry from being a puppet with no thoughts. When Mount Pagoda sensed that Wang Lin was no longer nearby, he instinctively found this massive stone, merged with it, and sat down in meditation. One day, while meditating, Mount Pagoda suddenly opened his eyes. His gaze was calm, without a ripple of emotion. With a single step, he walked out of the stone and stood upon its surface. In front of him, vast ripples appeared in the starry sky, and Wang Lin stepped forward. Upon seeing Wang Lin, Mount Pagoda's expression didn't change at all, but a respectful look appeared on his face. Wang Lin smiled, and with a wave of his hand, Mount Pagoda immediately stepped forward, transforming into a shadow that melded into Wang Lin's figure and disappeared. Next, it's Datu and Reggie. Wang Lin closed his eyes and quietly focused on the imprint of Datu in his heart. After a long while, he furrowed his brows. Datu's imprint is weak. It feels like it could dissipate at any moment. With a step into the starry sky, his figure turned into the void. In the starry sky, a massive figure marched swiftly, its body riddled with bloody wounds. With each step it took, more cracks appeared, and large amounts of blood spilled out. Almost every step caused blood to flow. The most terrifying part was the person's back, where from the first vertebra to the seventh, deep pits glowed with a sinister green light. Additionally, at every joint in the person's bones, there were similar deep pits, and the number was no less than dozens. On this figure's shoulder was a cultivator with an extremely pale face. His body was strangely thin, with a head as large as a basin. On the back of this giant cultivator, a black handprint exuded a stench, with thin black smoke drifting out, sizzling as it vanished into the void. Additionally, the flesh on this cultivator's back was deeply sunken and rotting rapidly. Had he not been using his primordial energy to resist, he would likely have already passed out from the pain. "Reggie, let me go. You should leave on your own," the giant cultivator said, black blood trickling from the corner of his mouth. His eyes dimmed, losing all their shine. The massive figure moved faster in silence. After a long time, a buzzing sound emerged. "Datu, you were injured while saving me, Reggie. As a member of the giant demon clan, how could I leave you behind? Even if I leave alone, do you think the pursuers will stop chasing me? Their target is me. Don't say any more. Focus on healing your wounds." Datu forced a bitter smile, gazing at the starry sky ahead. His eyes grew increasingly dim, and it seemed he could see his mother from years ago and his family, gazing at him with a soft look, beckoning him. "Mom." Datu muttered to himself, a deathly aura spreading from his body. In a daze, he saw his family again, saw all the people he had killed over the centuries. One by one, they appeared before him, staring at him coldly. Datu trembled, feeling a chill, not just physical, but a deeper loneliness in his heart. Memories from his childhood began to resurface. "I'm going to leave. After more than 1,000 years of cultivation, in the end, I still have to leave." On Datu's back, the black handprint emitted an even stronger stench, and under its spread, his entire back became almost pitch black. His eyes slowly closed, as if being enveloped by coldness, gradually losing all awareness. Datu, hold on. I believe the master will definitely come to find us. Just as Datu was about to close his eyes, Reggie's loud shout, like thunder, echoed in his ears. Datu's body trembled, barely opening his eyes. He gave a bitter smile and whispered, "Really?" Behind Reggie, two towering figures relentlessly pursued. These two figures resembled giants, striding forward with rumbling sounds, quickly closing in. On their foreheads, an axe mark flickered continuously, and their faces were cold, their eyes filled with murderous intent. On top of one of the giants' heads, a young man was sitting cross-legged. He wore a blue robe and was extremely handsome, though there was a trace of eerie unfriendliness about him. He wasn't fully cross-legged, instead leaning back slightly, holding a string of crimson cherry-like fruits. He occasionally popped one into his mouth, and his gaze toward Reggie was filled with mockery and a sense of certainty. The body I've taken a liking to has never had any escapees in this Alliance Star domain. To think I'd run into a member of the giant demon clan's royal family while out for a stroll. Not bad, not bad. My elders always say that the Alliance is in chaos right now, and that I should stay in. But if I hadn't come out, how would I have encountered this body? The young man smiled as he bit into a cherry, then casually spat out the pit, which turned into a long rainbow streak and shot toward Reggie. The cherry pit was so fast that it caught up to Reggie in the blink of an eye. In an instant, it transformed into a green skull, roaring as it aimed at Reggie's eighth vertebra. However, just as the green skull was about to strike, a hand reached out from the void, grabbing the skull and crushing it with a loud bang, shattering it to pieces. Behind Reggie, ripples spread out, and a cold voice echoed. "How dare you harm my mountain servant?" "Master!" Reggie's body trembled, and he quickly turned around. "Master!" Datu's eyes suddenly opened wide in unimaginable joy. Upon seeing the pitch-black handprint on Datu's back, Wang Lin's eyes flashed with a cold light. He extended his right hand into the air, and instantly, Datu's body was pulled toward him. He raised his right hand and slapped Datu's back, and his internal energy surged into Datu's body. Datu's complexion flushed, and he spat out black blood that reeked even more strongly of foulness. At this moment, the blue-robed young man not far away still leaned back, holding a cherry in one hand. He lazily pointed at Wang Lin and casually said, "Son Guzi, you've had this giant demon clan body for a while now. It's time to use your cultivation. Go kill the one who dared to insult me." The giant demon behind him immediately showed respect and said in a deep voice, "Understood." With that, he abruptly turned, his eyes filled with killing intent as he stepped forward, clenching his fist with a sinister grin, immediately closing the distance. As he neared, the giant demon clan warrior formed a seal with his right hand, and a vast ocean appeared beneath his feet. The ocean surged in massive waves, expanding and covering 100 meters around him, as though the man was walking on water. "Die, Junior." The giant demon slammed his right hand forward, and the ocean around him seemed to boil, condensing into a sea dragon that roared toward Wang Lin. As the sea dragon surged toward him, the scent of the sea blew over. Wang Lin, however, placed his hand on Datu's back, not even glancing at the sea dragon or the approaching giant demon. The giant demon's cultivation was only at the early glimpse of Nirvana stage, and even though Datu's giant demon clan body was tough, it was still no match for an ancient god like Wang Lin. Wang Lin's own cultivation and strength would make short work of this giant demon. With a wave of his left sleeve, a surge of overwhelming force shot out. This power was invisible, but as Wang Lin swung his sleeve, the space between him and the giant demon immediately cracked, sounding as though it might shatter entirely. This sight made the blue-robed youth, who had been nibbling on a cherry, stop in his tracks, his eyes narrowing slightly. The giant demon warrior's sea dragon had just rushed out when it was suddenly hit by an unimaginable force. The sea dragon trembled violently and let out a shrill screech, but its forward momentum was completely halted, and it was pushed back by the invisible force. The sea dragon's scales began to fall off, dissolving into the ocean, and in an instant, the sea dragon was forced to retreat, disintegrating completely in the process. As for the burly man, his pupils constricted in shock. He wanted to retreat, but it was too late. In the instant when the sea dragon twisted and dissipated, his chest suddenly caved in, and he spewed out a mouthful of blood, his body rushing backward in haste. A series of thuds echoed from within him, and with each sound, a part of his body erupted, transforming into blood mist. In just a few breaths, he had become a bloodied figure. Fear and horror filled his eyes, especially when he saw Wang Lin's left hand reaching out to him, gripping the air. It made his scalp tingle and his soul almost leave his body. "Young master, save me." The young man in a blue shirt had a grim expression. He suddenly stood up, squeezing a cherry branch in his right hand and swinging it forward. With a series of bursts, the cherries on the branch shattered, splattering crimson liquid mixed with countless cherry pits directly toward Wang Lin. In the heat of battle, each of those cherry pits morphed into glowing skulls that emitted a blue light. Surrounded by the vast outpouring of crimson liquid, they let out piercing shrieks. However, the young man in blue was a moment too late. The giant demon man's body, fearful in his eyes, seemed uncontrollable and was yanked toward Wang Lin. The pull was incredibly fast, and in an instant, the giant demon man was caught beside Wang Lin. With a light pat on the man's body from Wang Lin's left hand, his eyes dimmed instantly. He felt an unimaginable force surge into his body that shocked his primordial spirit, forcing it out from his flesh. In the moment the giant demon man's primordial spirit left his body, Wang Lin seized it. His grip felt like an iron clamp. No matter how the man struggled, it was futile. Meanwhile, Wang Lin swiftly lifted his right foot and kicked the giant demon man's physical body, sending it flying forward into a collision with the green glowing skulls wrapped in the torrent of crimson liquid. A thunderous boom reverberated through the air as the giant man's physical body collapsed, scattering into countless pieces of flesh that were about to disperse. But immediately, in an eerie twist, the green glowing skulls inhaled and reversed the dispersal, cleanly devouring every last bit. Though this all seemed to happen slowly, it actually unfolded in an instant. Throughout, Wang Lin's right hand remained on Datu's back, where plumes of black smoke escaped, enveloping them. The deathly aura on Datu gradually faded, replaced by renewed vitality. "Who exactly are you?" The blue-shirt young man was shaken as he witnessed this. He knew that being able to effortlessly kill a glimpse of Nirvana cultivator, especially one who had possessed a giant demon's body, was no small matter. Only someone who had reached pure Nirvana could achieve such power. Yet, no matter how he looked at it, the person before him was merely a glimpse of Nirvana cultivator. Wang Lin did not answer the young man's question. Instead, he slightly raised his right hand before pressing it back down onto Datu's spine. This time, as his hand landed, a flicker of misty water vapor distorted into an illusion appeared. Upon landing on Datu's back, the black palm imprint on it bizarrely began to writhe. As Wang Lin's hand descended, it transformed into 5 black residual souls, intertwining and moving toward Wang Lin's palm to be devoured. Wang Lin's expression remained calm as he suddenly brought his right hand down. Eerie cries, only perceivable to divine senses, resonated as the 5 residual souls immediately collapsed and perished. In that instant, endless black chi rushed out violently from Datu's back. His body trembled violently, his blood reversing, and a black blood clot spewed out. After it erupted, it shattered into a mass of cold, dissipating black mist. All this transpired in just a few moments. Wang Lin withdrew his right hand and coldly stared at the blue-shirt young man, stepping a pace forward. The young man's face changed drastically. Without needing to order, the giant demon man beneath him quickly retreated, fear evident in his eyes. Though he believed himself to be slightly more powerful than his slain companion, facing an enemy capable of easily annihilating his ally left him without a shred of hope. As he fell back, the blue-shirt young man's expression darkened as he growled, "I am a disciple of the corpse insect's inner court. This is a misunderstanding. I hope you won't pursue it." As he spoke, he rapidly made hand seals, causing green chi to emerge from within him and swiftly merge into his right hand. Almost instantly, the young man's hand was engulfed in a green glow. Corpse insect. Wang Lin's expression shifted slightly. In that moment, the young man's eyes flashed with malice. Seizing the opportunity, he thrust his right hand forward and coldly shouted, "5 ghosts in God revolving void." Immediately, 5 beams of green light shot forth from his hand, transforming into 5 ethereal ghostly figures. Their piercing howls resounded as they condensed, forming a green handprint that surged directly towards Wang Lin. On the handprint, the 5 ghostly figures appeared with snarling expressions, and a powerful aura spread around them. With lightning speed, they rushed towards Wang Lin. Wang Lin remained calm, casually waving his right hand forward. Instantly, a fierce wind howled and charged straight at the handprint. With a loud bang, the 5 ghostly figures within the handprint screamed as they shattered and dissipated. Wang Lin took a step forward and, with a clenched fist, launched a powerful strike. A booming sound echoed as a storm swept across, causing the young man in the blue robe to turn pale, but he did not panic. After a careful glance at Wang Lin, he raised his right hand and pressed it down onto the giant demon clan warrior beneath him. The giant demon's body trembled, and a bitter expression appeared on his face. As he stepped back, he formed a hand seal and pointed to the sky, his deep voice resonating. Giant demon divine ability. As soon as the words left his mouth, the giant demon's body shook violently, and a fissure quickly appeared on his forehead, releasing a dim light. But instead of attacking Wang Lin, the light wrapped around the blue-robed youth. In an instant, a whirlpool appeared behind the youth. The appearance of the whirlpool was sudden, and it gave no indication of its presence. There was no pull emanating from it, yet the blue-robed youth stepped back and immediately entered the whirlpool. Giant Demon Clan's innate divine ability. Wang Lin sneered, and with a swing of his right fist, the storm intensified. The powerful wind and thunder rushed towards the blue-robed youth in the whirlpool. At that moment, the giant demon warrior's face showed pain, yet with gritted teeth, he reversed his primordial energy and sent it directly into his primordial spirit, causing it to destabilize and clash with his physical body. In intense pain, the giant demon's primordial spirit suddenly exploded. The explosion of the primordial spirit unleashed a destructive force that, in the blink of an eye, tore apart his flesh and blood. With a deafening crash, his body erupted completely. The explosion created a shockwave, but instead of dispersing, the destructive force gathered and surged directly toward Wang Lin. The destructive force swept forward like a fierce gale, trying to stop Wang Lin from pursuing. After the shockwave from the self-explosion, the whirlpool continued to shrink, with the blue-robed youth sneering coldly. "Whoever you are, I will find out your name. You dare to provoke the Corpsine sect? You are as good as dead," the blue-robed youth said darkly, his figure gradually fading away. Wang Lin's expression remained calm. At the moment the shockwave from the self-explosion rushed toward him, he slapped his storage pouch. Immediately, the third god-shooting chariot, which had not been used for a long time, flew out. With a loud bang, it transformed into a dazzling multicolored butterfly. The butterfly flew forward, its left wing fluttering lightly, causing the shockwave from the self-explosion to tremble immediately. The butterfly's left wing fluttered again. A wave of rule power spread, and the destructive shockwave suddenly reversed, as if invisible hands were manipulating it, pushing it backward. On the third flutter of the butterfly's wings, 3 more butterflies appeared out of thin air. Their wings fluttered in unison, and the shockwave, now reversing with incredible speed, rushed toward the rapidly shrinking whirlpool. Just as the whirlpool was about to vanish, the self-explosion's force, altered by the butterfly's rule, was completely absorbed into the whirlpool. A scream echoed from the whirlpool before it vanished. In the Alliance star domain, in a place unknown to outsiders, there existed a soul sea deep within which large pieces of land floated. On one of the landmasses, pavilions rose, and in the center stood a massive, completely black pavilion. Suddenly, a whirlpool appeared out of thin air. The moment the whirlpool formed, there were loud bangs, and a thick blood mist spread. The blue-robed youth's primordial spirit's eyes were tightly closed, as though they could collapse at any moment, and he flew out of the whirlpool. At that instant, the pavilion doors slammed open, and an elderly man with a grim expression stepped out. He moved so quickly that he was beside the primordial spirit in an instant, grabbing it with one hand. "Grandfather, save me." The blue-robed youth barely opened his eyes, spoke those words, and immediately fainted. His primordial spirit gradually faded, growing weaker, though it did not collapse. Wang Lin furrowed his brows, sensing that at the moment the force from the multicolored butterfly entered the whirlpool, attacking the youth, a dark light flashed from the youth's body, dissipating most of the energy. Though the dark light eventually shattered, the blue-robed youth was severely injured but not dead. "A life-saving treasure," Wang Lin murmured, turning and walking toward Reggie. He glanced at the green light leaking from the cracks in Reggie's bones and raised his right hand to press down on each of them. Each time his fingers pressed, the green light turned into a residual soul and dissipated. After a moment, there was no more green light coming from Reggie. He let out a deep breath, looking at Wang Lin with respect. In the starry sky, Reggie's massive form transformed into a mount, charging forward. Wang Lin sat cross-legged atop him, with the 2 beside him, healing his wounds. Approaching Destiny Star, closer and closer. 10 days later, Wang Lin gazed at the familiar starry sky ahead. He knew that he was nearing the territory of the 7-level cultivation kingdom, Destiny Star. Over the past 10 days, Wang Lin had not only been pondering how to proceed once he reached Destiny Star, but also thinking about the day when Luo Tian fought against the Alliance, and the time he saw Mystic Treasure Elder perform the four-colored butterfly hand seals. On that day, he had been so focused that he memorized the entire sequence of hand seals. However, despite trying numerous times over these past 10 days, he still hadn't felt anything. At this moment, Wang Lin stood up, gazing ahead. After a brief silence, he slowly spoke, "Datu, you and Reggie stay nearby and find a hidden place to wait for me. If I return safely, I will send both of you over. If you hear nothing from me, leave immediately." With that, Wang Lin flickered and left Reggie's back, stepping forward. Dressed in white with black hair flowing, he exuded a strong, ethereal aura. As he walked, Wang Lin finally entered the domain of Destiny Star's influence once again. This journey brings both fortune and misfortune. But some things must be done. Besides, this crisis may not be as difficult to resolve as I thought. Everything is because of that Immortal Mansion token. Wang Lin muttered to himself as he moved forward. All of them want that Immortal Mansion token. It was precisely because of this item, combined with the Blood Ancestors affairs and the schemes of Destiny Child, that I had no choice but to leave back then. At that time, my cultivation was too weak, and I had no means of defending myself. Facing Destiny Child, I couldn't even resist. But now, although I still can't resist, it's not so easy to kill me. Wang Lin touched his forehead. His true trump card wasn't his magic weapons or divine abilities, but the third eye on his brow. After seeing the second battle calligraphy, my primordial force gained a trace of. This is my life-saving technique. Furthermore, I haven't completely severed ties with Destiny Child. I'm still a disciple of the Destiny sect. The most important thing is that the person who resembled the yellow dragon once said that I'm from Vermilion Birdstar and a disciple of the Vermilion lineage from the Four Saints sect. This is worth pondering. Wang Lin's lips curled into a cold smile. His right hand didn't raise but flicked a single finger toward his brow. Immediately, the third eye on his forehead opened. It flickered, then was replaced by 5 ancient god star marks, and then shifted once more to form an illusory bead. Finally, everything vanished, leaving only a crimson mark that emitted faint, fiery warmth. If I hadn't achieved great merit and received Yin Lazy's primordial energy infusion, which allowed me to reach the mid-glimpse of Nirvana stage, and if I hadn't inherited Luo Qin's strength to become a 5-star royal ancient god, I would never have discovered this mark within me. This mark holds the power of earth and fire, and when my divine sense focuses on it, I can hear the faint sound of a phoenix's cry echoing in my mind. This item is related to Vermilion Bird, and it wasn't there when I left Vermilion Birdstar. This suggests it's strongly connected to the Yellow Dragon sect leader. Wang Lin's gaze sharpened, and the Vermilion Bird mark on his forehead flickered as he swiftly moved forward. From a distance, Destiny Star came into view. Gazing at the familiar cultivation star, Wang Lin couldn't help but sigh. He could never forget how, after leaving Vermilion Birdstar, he came directly here, where he was taken in as a purple faction disciple by Destiny Child. How many hundreds of years has it been? Wang Lin shook his head, continuing his steps. When I first came here, I was merely an infant metamorphosis cultivator, but now, returning for the second time, I can fight against pure Nirvana cultivators. Wang Lin stopped for a moment, his gaze fixed sharply ahead at Destiny Star. On Destiny Star, golden light flickered, and sword lights crisscrossed within, gathering and shining around the Destiny sect's location, densely packed in number. Ling Tianho. Wang Lin's expression shifted as he sensed the presence of Ling Tianho among the sword lights. After a brief pause, Wang Lin did not hesitate and flew forward. Outside Destiny sect, countless sword lights crisscrossed, resembling a sword storm sweeping across the heavens and earth. Every sword light contained a cultivator, all disciples of the great Luo sword sect. Ahead of them stood a fire-red Qilin. This Qilin exuded immense martial prowess, its eyes flashing like lightning, its body surrounded by endless flames, with 2 white plumes of smoke billowing from its nostrils. On its back sat a very thin elder, with a gloomy expression, sitting cross-legged. Behind the elder, 4 illusory swords floated, radiating a powerful aura. He was none other than Ling Tianho. Surrounding the elder were 4 other cultivators with immense divine abilities. 3 were elderly men, with white hair, their eyes radiating the intensity of the sun and moon. One of them was dressed in black and white, embroidered with the yin-yang symbol. His expression revealed nothing, as he calmly sat on a massive gourd. Behind him stood 9 others, obviously his disciples, who floated respectfully beside him. The second elder was enormous, resembling a mountain of flesh. He sat on a grand purple bamboo chair, carried by 4 powerful men whose eyes gleamed with sharp light. The third elder wore a yellow robe and was as thin as a corpse, yet a strong life force emanated from him. He stood alone, his demeanor cold and indifferent, gazing into the starry sky. The last figure was a woman, slightly younger, an enchanting middle-aged beauty. She was dressed simply, resembling a village girl from the mortal realm, yet there was an otherworldly aura about her. Behind her, 4 women followed, their beauty beyond compare, especially the one dressed in pink on her left, who was so stunning that she drew the attention of many disciples from the great Luo Sword sect. But these 4 women ignored all attention, quietly staring ahead. Tian Yunzi, when your disciple Wang Lin took the token, you said that the heavenly secret would be revealed today. I'm eager to see what this so-called secret of yours really is. Ling Tianho spoke in a deep voice. Years ago, the old monsters had sent the greedy wolf to search for Wang Lin, but after that, no news came. Even the marks on the greedy wolf had mostly disappeared. The immortal abode in the tidal zone was a matter of great importance, so these old monsters anxiously joined forces to search for Tian Yunzi. After all, Wang Lin was from the Tian Yun sect. At that time, Tian Yunzi's expression was calm as he said one thing. On the day when the purple and blue dual glows fill the sky, you may come to the Tian Yun sect to witness the heavenly secret. This morning, the sky over Tian Yun star was clear and bright, but in an instant, it was covered with purple and blue clouds, shining magnificently as though illuminating the entire earth. Soon after, Ling Tianho brought his disciples along, and the old monsters who were aware of this matter also rushed to the Tian Yun sect. After all, Tian Yunzi's divination art was famous even in the Alliance star domain. Tian Yunzi, dressed in white, stood calmly in the square of the Tian Yun sect. Surrounding him, many disciples of the sect had cold expressions, their gazes focused more on the 4 exquisitely beautiful women in the sky. They've arrived. Tian Yunzi said calmly, smiling slightly, his gaze resting on the distant horizon. As soon as Tian Yunzi spoke, Ling Tianho, along with the 3 powerful old monsters and the village girl beauty, immediately sensed something. In that moment, every cultivator's gaze in the sky was fixed on the horizon. The 4 women behind the village girl beauty did not blink, their beautiful eyes focused intently. I wonder what kind of person Wang Lin, the one who once shook the tidal zone and captured the attention of all powerful cultivators on Tian Yun star, is like now, said the woman in pink, her eyes filled with curiosity. But the more they wondered, the more rumors about Wang Lin spread. In the square of Tian Yun sect, Bai Wei stood silently, her expression complex as she gazed at the sky. It was hard for her to imagine what the person from those years had become now. Next to Bai Wei stood a middle-aged man, his face dark with anger. Dressed in purple, his eyes like lightning, he stared at the sky, coldly sneering inside. Wang Lin. Even if you didn't die these years, you certainly haven't grown much stronger. But I wonder, how much have you fallen behind compared to me, Zhao Xingsha? Bai Wei cast a cautious glance at the middle-aged man beside her, wary of this senior brother. Over the years, Zhao Xingsha's cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds in seclusion and reflection, breaking through the peak, and was just one step away from entering the Yin deficiency realm. Zhao Xingsha became one of the 7 children of heavenly destiny 30 years ago. He and Wang Lin had enmity, so when they meet, there will likely be no escape from conflict. Next to them was a woman with a downcast expression. Although she too gazed at the sky, she seemed disinterested in everything. This woman was the 4th elder of the Purple faction, Wang Lin's 4th senior sister. Years ago, she had been forced by Zhao Xingsha to trap Wang Lin using her divine abilities. Later, after Wang Lin escaped, she taught him the great teleportation technique, thus resolving their enmity. Far in the distance, a young man about 30 years old stood. He wore blue robes, and 3 blue dragons were embroidered on his chest, looking lifelike and fierce. Their eyes glinted with an intimidating, soul-piercing gleam. If Wang Lin were to see him now, he would not be unfamiliar with this person. It was none other than Sima Rufeng, the disciple of the Blue faction, who had once joined with the 4th elder of the Purple faction to trap Wang Lin. In the Tian Yun sect, every disciple who had known Wang Lin had their own thoughts at this moment, but no one believed that if Wang Lin were to appear today, he would walk out alive. At the moment when everyone's gaze was fixed on the distant horizon, a white figure slowly emerged from the edge of the sky, step by step making its way toward them. With flowing black hair, the sunlight gleamed purple, complementing the white attire and accentuating the ethereal aura. Alone, the figure floated like snow, drifting closer. A sense of millennia-old solitude emanated from this figure as it approached, with the blazing red sun behind casting a shadow on its face, revealing only its bright eyes, which reflected the weariness of countless years. This scene was beautiful beyond words. Though the figure started far away, in the blink of an eye, it was already outside the Tianyun sect. Wang Lin. Wang Lin. Several people instantly recognized him. He is Wang Lin. The woman in pink gazed at the approaching white figure. Ling Tianho's gaze flickered like lightning, infused with a chilling sword intent. Upon seeing Wang Lin, his brows furrowed. Although his expression remained dark, a hint of shock flashed in his eyes. Early glimpse of nirvana. This Wang Lin was only at the infant metamorphosis stage back then, and in just a few hundred years, he has reached this level of power. Unless he's had an incredible stroke of fortune, there's no way this could happen. Especially with that mark on his forehead, Ling Tianho's heart surged with astonishment. The elder, who seemed to be made of flesh and bone like a mountain, opened his eyes suddenly, releasing a flash of brilliance as he stared at Wang Lin, his eyes filled with disbelief. The emaciated elder, as dry as a corpse, also shifted his expression. After giving Wang Lin a meaningful glance, he turned to Tian Yunzi, his face showing a knowing look. The old man, dressed in a black and white Taoist robe, seated atop a gourd, was momentarily stunned, then a faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Yet, his eyes glimmered with an elusive light, making it hard to discern his thoughts. Vermilion birthmark. The middle-aged woman with the village maiden appearance exclaimed lightly, eyeing Wang Lin with interest. The reaction of these old masters was significant, but among the surrounding cultivators, few could sense Wang Lin's cultivation. However, almost everyone felt a pressure emanating from him the moment he appeared. The woman in pink looked at Wang Lin, her eyes gleaming with curiosity. Though this all seemed slow, in reality, the moment Wang Lin appeared, the shifts in the surrounding people's expressions were immediately apparent to him. Wang Lin calmly adjusted his robe, showing composure amidst his serene expression. He cupped his hands toward Tian Yunzi in the distance and respectfully said, "Disciple Wang Lin, greeting master." Tian Yunzi's eyes gleamed with an odd light as he stared at the mark on Wang Lin's forehead. After a long pause, a smile gradually appeared on his face as he warmly said, "It's good to have you back, Wang Lin. These seniors have some questions for you. You must answer truthfully. You little brat, you really dare to come back?" A middle-aged man behind Ling Tianho shouted at Wang Lin, pointing his finger. "Back then, you killed the disciples of the great Luo sword sect in the land of demonic spirits. Today, it's time for blood to be repaid." Wang Lin's face smiled endlessly, but his eyes were as cold as ice. He glanced at the middle-aged man who spoke and calmly said, "Ling Tianho, does your disciple have the right to speak to me like that?" Ling Tianho's expression darkened like storm clouds. He fixed his gaze on the mark on Wang Lin's forehead. Though he was somewhat apprehensive about the vermilion birthmark, what truly shocked him were the other two powers emanating from Wang Lin's brow. What kind of fortune has Wang Lin experienced these past few hundred years to transform so completely? In the silence, Ling Tianho flicked his sleeve, and the middle-aged man who had shouted at Wang Lin was immediately forced back a few steps and returned to the group. "He truly doesn't have the right to speak to you like that. You're so young, and to have reached the early glimpse of nirvana stage. To be honest, even I find it somewhat admirable." Ling Tianho's voice carried a hint of coldness as he spoke slowly. His words caused an uproar, as if a bucket of cold water had been splashed into hot oil, causing all the surrounding cultivators to change their expressions dramatically. Bai Wei sucked in a breath, staring at Wang Lin in shock. Her mind went blank. She couldn't believe that just a few hundred years ago, Wang Lin was at the infant metamorphosis stage, and now he had reached the glimpse of nirvana stage that she thought was only a legend. Glimpse of nirvana. Zhao Xingsha, his body trembling, could hardly believe what he was hearing. He stood rooted to the spot in disbelief. Not only these two, but nearly all the cultivators present were equally stunned. After all, this was simply too hard to believe. Wang Lin's cultivation has reached glimpse of nirvana. Though there's still a gap between us, he has earned the right to be considered one of us. From now on, he shouldn't be looked down upon as just a young one. The elder seated on the gourd smiled slightly, his eyes flickering as he spoke. "Wang Lin, old man has a question for you. Why did you escape into that vortex in front of us back then? Was there something you didn't want us to know? Xun'er has indeed caused trouble in the land of demonic spirits, and thus must leave," Wang Lin said calmly, his expression unchanged. "Trouble? What trouble?" The old man, whose body was as withered as a corpse, flashed a cold gleam in his eyes and spoke in a chilling tone. "To protect myself, I imprisoned the Blood Ancestor's daughter. When I saw the seniors and the Blood Ancestor chasing after me, I naturally had to flee. Wang Lin replied indifferently. Upon hearing this, the massive old man, whose body was as large as a mountain of flesh, sat up and spoke in a deep voice. Is the Immortal Mansion token in your possession? I wonder where you heard such a thing from, Senior, Wang Lin said, not glancing away, fixing his gaze on the Flesh Mountain old man. His cultivation was only at the early pure nirvana stage, and Wang Lin recalled that none of the old monsters chasing him at that time had this person. At Wang Lin's steady gaze, the Flesh Mountain old man was visibly shaken. His expression changed, and suspicion flickered in his eyes. All right, Wang Lin, Tian Yunzi said gently, his expression unchanged. Tell me, is the Immortal Mansion token in your hands or not? Wang Lin looked at Tian Yunzi and replied respectfully, since Master has asked, I will not hide the truth. I did indeed obtain an Immortal Mansion token in the land of demonic spirits. As soon as Wang Lin finished speaking, the surrounding old monster's eyes flashed, and they immediately fell silent. A suffocating pressure suddenly enveloped the space, bearing down on Wang Lin. Wang Lin, take out the token. If you do so now, you may still keep your life. The old man sitting on the gourd glanced at Wang Lin's forehead mark and said in a deep voice, You are not worthy to possess that token, said the Flesh Mountain old man, his eyes showing hostility as he spoke in a cold tone. Before Wang Lin could respond, the ever-gloomy Ling Tianho, his eyes flashing with killing intent, slowly spoke. Since the matter of the token is already known to be in his hands, there's no need for further discussion. With a cold snort, he pointed forward with his right hand, and instantly, a terrifying sword chi surged toward Wang Lin, roaring as it approached. Wang Lin remained calm. In the split second the sword chi arrived, he took a few steps back, clenched his fist, and thrust it forward. The punch created a sonic boom that echoed loudly, shaking the heavens. A black vortex appeared out of nowhere at the center of Wang Lin's fist, sweeping forward. It collided directly with Ling Tianho's sword chi. At that moment, Tian Yunzi's eyes flashed. He swung his right sleeve forward, and immediately a wind of 7 colors appeared. It swept across the space, landing between Ling Tianho and Wang Lin. This 7-colored wind contained strange power. It not only dispersed the black vortex on Wang Lin's fist, but also neutralized his force and blocked Ling Tianho's sword chi. Effortlessly, everything was resolved. Ling Tianho, you attacked my disciple in the gates of Tian Yun's sect. Are you so disrespectful to me? Tian Yunzi's voice remained calm, as he cast a faint glance at Ling Tianho. Tian Yunzi, are you trying to claim the token for yourself? Ling Tianho's 4 primordial spirit swords behind him flickered, flying out to surround him. He glared at Tian Yunzi and spoke in a menacing tone.